What's going on, everybody? It's your friend Will. We are back. This is the Memory Lapse, and we're continuing with our Jeskai series today. We're going to take a little bit of a diversion into another list from the Pro Tour. This being Control Deck and All-Around Master Guillaume Wafo-Tapa's take, which I believe he piloted to... let's see... 8 wins in Constructed. Yeah. So probably if his draft had just gone a little bit better, he would have made top 8, and we would have had another one in there. So, you know, the results of the Pro Tour are obviously a little bit misleading, just because it was 6 Boros decks in the top 8. You have to take into account that there were draft results in there as well. So, moving on. This is kind of like a hybrid between... well, it's not really a hybrid. This is interesting. So I think Guillaume was the first person who put the heal 3 or the gain 3 life draw card in this kind of list, and that's out of here now. And instead, he's just going with 4 opts, pretty modest, like counter spells, 2 Essence Scatter, 1 Negate, 4 Sabotage. Really light on the point removal, just 1 Justice Strike. So this deck is leaning heavily on Clarion and Cleansing Nova. Oh, and I guess there's also Syncopates here. So it's leaning really heavily on its sweepers. But I guess more importantly, it has a few more ways to win. So we have the Crackling Drakes, and the opts will help these be a little bit bigger in the mid game than they might normally be, like in the last list we played. Only 3 Teferi, but that's because we're making room for 2 Niv-Mizzets, who again, this card just takes over games if you can cast it like in your stable, and opts plus Niv-Mizzet on like turn 7, you can this opt becomes draw 2, right? Because it draws 1 off the Niv-Mizzet, draw again for itself, 2 Niv-Mizzet pings, so you get a free shock stapled onto that, and 2 Expansion Explosion, and in the sideboard, Spell Pierce, Seal Away, Negate, Justice Strike, Invoke, Legion Warboss, Niv-Mizzet, and Star of Extinction. So I guess in the mirrors we're bringing the Negates, the Warbosses, the Niv-Mizzet, probably the Spell Pierce. Against Drakes, we're bringing in the Sealaways, and possibly the Justice Strikes, and possibly another Niv-Mizzet. Against Green-Black, we're bringing in Star of Extinction to clear away their Planeswalkers and their Carnage Tyrant, and possibly Negate, depending on the build. And then against Red decks, I think we're just bringing in Sealaway and Invoke, and maybe Justice Strike. Depends. So, anyways, let's play a few regular games here, like we did with the last build, and get kind of comfortable, because I have a feeling the play pattern is going to be slightly different, since we're going to be looking to win. Well, I don't know, maybe it'll be the same, because we did close out some games. I'm not sure that we've actually ulted Teferi yet with the that Jeskai list, Wilson Mox list. I think we had some opponents concede games where we were going to ult the next turn, but we've never actually won that way. And we have won a fair share, just like with threatening lethal with Drakes on the board. So this could work somewhat the same way. All right, so we have Opt and Clarion and Niv-Mizzet, so we can keep here. We're not in a rush to play this Opt. I think this is the type of deck that you really want to hold it. So we're just going to lead with Sacred Foundry into Glacial Fortress. We need to find ourselves some blue sources if we want to have an on-time Niv-Mizzet. I guess that's really going to depend on the matchup if that's something that we need. Apologies if there's extra street noise this morning. It's been raining all night, and so the streets are wet, and you can just hear that. That soothing hiss. I don't know, I like it when I'm going to sleep at night, but that's because I'm used to city sounds, and so there's something comforting about hearing those cars going by like that. But if the mic is picking it up, you know, let that be the justification. And what do we have here? A disconnect here, someone who stepped away. Get in the game, coach, let's go. Looks like we're still connected, so I'm not worried about that. Well, I'll use this time to talk about what else was in these top performing decks, because I think one of the other narratives of the Pro Tour is that there was no green-black at all in the top 8, which is true. But along with these other Jeskai control builds, there was a lot of mono red and a lot of Golgari mid-range at 8 wins. A lot of mono red at 8. Well, yeah, 4 mono red at 8 wins, 4 Golgari at 8 wins, 4 Jeskai control at 8 wins. So any of these players, if their drafts had broken a bit better, they would have made the top 8. Oh, look, our opponent actually showed up. So, you know, this is more likely than not going to be Jeskai week. And then we might check out some of those green-black decks in competitive constructed, not in best of one, because some of them are built quite interestingly. Alright, that's blue source number 1. Number 1 of 3, or I guess number 2 of 3, but number 1 drawn for the game. Now, unfortunately, Niv-Mizzet's kind of weak here in this matchup, I think, because of cards like that. So we have to be careful how we cast it. Alright, so we're definitely going to Clarion them here to slow down their plan. We're not going to opt because we're not in a rush. Second Clarion is good. Golgari Finebroker. So I think it's worth syncopating, or opting to see if we can find Syncopate for this. We found Sinister Sabotage, but we have missequenced our lands. And so we don't have an answer to that. If we had played this island instead of the Clifftop Retreat turn 3, we still would have... Oh no, we needed to play the Clifftop Retreat, because we had both red and white. So we got a little backwards on our lands here. But yeah, we were really just digging for Syncopate there. I think we're happy to keep Sinister Sabotage. I'm giving consideration to countering this, because they're clearly digging for a land, and I think we want to see what our next draw is. Yeah, I think I'm going to counter it. Yeah, and that's a great draw for us. Oh, wow. So we find one of our main deck negates here, or Syncopate. We can try to sneak this Niv-Mizzet into play around the Eldest Reborn. There's also a chance that they'll just play the Eldest Reborn if they don't really have another play, just to make us discard the following turn and reanimate something. Sometimes these decks will just run it out when there's no target, especially considering we know about it. But I don't know, it might be worth more in their hand as a Rattlesnake, right, to keep us... Right, this is a good one to bait out the Eldest Reborn, maybe. So I think we're kind of hoping they cast it here. This Drake has replaced itself, so it's done its job. Looks like they're not going to fall for it. But if they don't, you know, the Drake blocks everything on the board. So it's stopping the damage. That's all we care about. Chupacabra. Alright, that's unfortunate. It looks like we're going to take 6 or 5 here. And we're going to have to use this Justice Strike in conjunction with the Clarion next turn to get wipe the whole board. Now, unfortunately, they have Find on top. But I think the state of the board dictates this. And the auto tapper didn't do us any favors there. Favored these Sacred Foundries. We are getting close to Niv-Mizzet plus like Jumpstart Chemister's Insight. Syncopate. So we can actually Niv-Mizzet with Syncopate back up here. As long as they don't have... As long as they don't have a land on top. And I think this is the kind of play we need to make right now. Yeah, so if this is just land, it's not awesome. Or maybe it was and they just missequenced and didn't draw it. Okay, that's a very premature scoop from our opponent. Way, way too early. Alright, so we're going to sideboard assuming that they have, they're bringing in dinosaurs, or I have them and just didn't find them. So the question is this a matchup where we're taking out the creatures because of the removal they have? And we want the negates. Something like this. Clarion, I think, is good enough against them because they have Llanowar Elves. And a lot of their draws rely on those. Maybe the Opts come out. Yeah, maybe when you're on the... No, I don't know. I think Opt is too important. We're only running 26 land, which I know is a weird thing to say, but... Yeah, Seal Away I don't think we need. Invoke I don't think we need. I don't like expansion in this matchup. So let's try this. We have the Star. But the negates will be good. Maybe we should have run the Spell Pierce. That lets us go super greedy on a Drake or Niv-Mizzet, although it doesn't counter. Alright, so like here's a hand we can keep because of these opts. We will use these kind of aggressively to keep any of our land drops. Yeah, double Teferi is kind of a bummer. And we're going to use these ops now, because starting turn 3 we're going to want to counter stuff. That's not land. Yep. Still not land. Still not land. Still not land. This is why. Alright, we're just gonna scoop this one. That was pretty uncooperative. Seeing 7 cards like that and not finding a third land. Yeah, this Justice Strike might be okay. I don't know, it seems like it's batting at some of their spells, but... maybe 3 negates too many. No, I don't know. They play a lot of spells. Alright. Alright, this is better. Looks like our opponent took a mulligan here. So we want to remember to play our island here. Oh, Steam Vents is actually great. We're not looking for anything in particular yet. Yeah, so this card I think is supposed to come out in these matchups. Although I guess it does grow outside of Clarion range very quickly. Because we're bottoming this for now, because looks like we're going to be on the Star of Extinction plan. Alright. I've got to step away for 1 second. Hold on. Alright. We'll see what they go for here, and then we'll decide about sabotaging. I think we're not worried about this. So we're just going to try to get a big Star of Extinction on them. They'll draw a bunch of cards, but... we want these land drops. So I guess we'll just opt here. Negate's a good one. Unfortunately, we won't be able to star and have Negate back up for like a Planeswalker. Looks like they're playing around Settle the Wreckage, which is awesome for us, because there's a huge difference between us taking 5 and taking 2 this turn. Golgari Fine Broker. Which I think we just want to see our next card. This Niv-Mizzet. So we don't have enough to play Niv-Mizzet with backup counter magic. We get super punished if we star here and they have like Vraska 6, but I think we have to do this. I don't know. We're in a really bad spot. It would have been helpful if we had found a cheap sweeper. Yeah, maybe we just wait. And we'll use this Chemister's Insight to dump a Syncopate. Dress. I'll negate that to make them potentially play around settle again. Cool. We're actually going to dump Essence Scatter here. Alright, Justice Strike is good. That's a really good draw. 7. Vraska's no Assassin's Trophy. That's fine. Yeah, Justice Strike is really good here because now on their turn, we can strike the Reaper, which means they get far fewer cards off the star. It also means that we get to star with like Essence Scatter back up next turn. I think we played this well to not use that star too early on and giving them 3 cards, which could potentially just like destroy us. Alright, so they're going for it. We're going to Justice Strike the Reaper. Take 3. And now we'll star. With Essence Scatter back up. We're still kind of blown out by a Planeswalker, though if it's Vraska 6 we have a counter. So they have nothing. I think I'll just Syncopate for 0. To draw. Then we'll keep the other Syncopate. If we had shocked down to 1, we would have been able to Syncopate for 4 there. They had the exact punish. Why are they scooping? We're at 3. Well, I don't know. I guess they bricked. Well, that one took a really long time because our opponent took a while to connect, and we went to 3 games. So we're going to call it here. I think our opponent scooped both those games like prematurely, and if I was on their side of the table, I probably would have played it out, especially after answering that Niv-Mizzet. If they, I mean, maybe that just tells us they don't have Carnage Tyrant, or they don't have Vraska, or Vivian Reed. Like, maybe they just don't have the answers that they need to be able to close out the game. And that could be because they're on a budget, or they just don't like those cards in their particular build. Maybe they're metagaming to beat the aggressive decks. But either way, it worked out. So let's do one more practice match in the next video, and then we'll jump into competitive constructed again. So hope you enjoyed. We'll be right back.